Hey everybody, welcome to Friday night with me, Jeremy. Jeremy here, and we're gonna create some art. I don't have any announcements for this week, but oh, I did reach 500 subscribers, so I wanted to give a shout out to everybody out there and say thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I guess that's a milestone, which is kind of cool. I remember when I started back in January, I had 5 random subscribers who subscribed to me for no reason whatsoever. So that there's, 495 people out there who wants to watch my art. That's really that really touches me deeply. So I appreciate it, guys. So what are we drawing tonight? Well, I've been doing like a lot of messy artwork lately, working with charcoal, getting my hands dirty, things like that. I thought I'd do something a little more technical tonight, something more architectural. So I decided to go ahead and do like Hogwarts Castle. So I've already started sketching it out. My idea here is that I'm going to do this in ink, and if there's time, there's a lot of detail in this, so I don't really know if I'm going to have time, but it is kind of relatively small, so hopefully I do. But if I do have time, I'm going to do some watercolor to give it some color, but mostly it's like, like an ink drawing. I didn't get all the details in there in pencil beforehand. I was hoping to, so I'm just going to jump right in and start inking this up and filling in some of those details as I go along. I see there's some people in the chat already, which is awesome. Let's see, we've got OK Larry in here, Mr. Quackers, and Vertigo. Awesome. So feel free to chat with me. I'm here all night until this gets done, so let's just jump in. Hopefully, you guys are looking forward to the weekend like I am. It's been kind of a long week. I've been super busy. There's really no place to start inking. I'm just going to start on this middle turret just because it's like sitting right there. But like I said, I've been kind of like doing rush pictures where I just kind of quickly jump through it. So this one's going to be interesting because I'm going to kind of take my time with it. Because like ink, you can't really erase, you can't really like backtrack or anything like that. So it just requires taking your time, light touches so that, you don't screw up. I'll probably screw up anyway. There's somewhere in this picture that I'm going to screw up. I already know. But that's the way of it. It's fine. It's just for fun. Oh, cool. Hey, Mama Q, Kid, and Beaks. Yeah, I've been talking about maybe doing Hogwarts for a while. So like tonight I was wondering what I was going to do, and I'm like, I was looking at my Instagram and I'm like, I've got all these like scribbled messes and stuff. I'm like, let me try a cleaner picture just to see how it goes. I do want to kind of do more of these pictures just because they are fun, you know. I talk about on this channel that art is a good way to relax. There's nothing more relaxing than doing something, technical like this of a detailed nature. It really takes like a lot of the thought out of it. You just kind of mindlessly add ink. Takes a little while to get the sketch down, but I mean, it's Hogwarts. There's not a lot going on as far as like the rough shape. In a picture like this, it's all in the details and stuff. In fact, one of the challenges in doing a picture like this is that you have to figure out where you're going to simplify details because you can't possibly get every single detail in there. There are definitely some artists out there that work in ink that do architectural pictures way better than I could ever hope to. And some of the stuff they create is amazing. Like not even Hogwarts, but like, I don't know, like cathedrals over in Europe, things like that. But as you can see, I'm just kind of lightly going over the pencil lines that I put in earlier. Nothing too thick. This is kind of how I like to start these pictures. And then, later on, if necessary, subtly, I would add like, I don't know, some brush areas to kind of give it a little bit more detail. Or a little bit more shadow, sorry. Like in a picture like this, you're really just suggesting lines. A lot of it would be like in the actual wash where you would add shadows. things of that nature. Here you're just kind of defining details. Any of you guys ever go to like Universal Studios and visit Hogwarts? I always wanted to do that. I was um I was at a conference in Orlando one time, but I was kind of stuck at a Disney resort and wasn't able to make it over there, which kind of sucks. But I always thought it would be cool. Some of my friends have been there and they said it's awesome. I want to try the butterbeer. Apparently they have butterbeer for sale there, which I'm not even sure what that is. Seems like a, I don't know, like a root beer float, maybe. I don't know. Maybe one of you guys who's been there can let me know. Let me know what I missed out on. There's like three turrets back here. Some of this architecture doesn't really make sense. I don't know why it would. You know, it's a fictional castle for like wizards and stuff, but just like three turrets just sticking out here in the back, it doesn't make any sense to me. So how's everybody been? You guys have any weekend plans? Anything going on this weekend? I checked what movies were coming out, and it only looks like Fast and Furious is maybe new. But I've never really watched those, so I don't. I guess I have to go back and watch the other nine or however many has come out before I can understand what's going on in this one. Lots of little turrets, and they all have these like little caps on it. I really don't understand this architecture. Like, what's it all for? It doesn't make any sense. But as you can see, well, I really need to zoom in. You know what? I'm going to try to zoom in on this. Every time I do this kind of stuff, I screw up my camera and it ends up being, let me see if I can zoom in. Because, like, really, it's all about the details on this. If that's any better. I don't know if I can tilt this a little bit. Yep. Let's screw with things in real time, Gary. Great idea. Well, it's still a little blurry. Oh well. Well, maybe you guys can at least see some of the stuff I'm doing. Wow, my hand's like super big. That's funny. I don't know why that's so funny, but man, it's enormous. All right, so I'm not gonna stay zoomed in for long. I just wanted to show you that, like, okay, cream soda. Okay, I thought it was something like that. I don't like the zoomed in view. I'm gonna go back. It's making me self-conscious. Let me go back to, there we go. For my camera. How's that? No, it's all crooked. There we go. All right, that's zoomed in enough for you guys. You don't care. I'm gonna stop messing with things. Anywho, yeah, butterbeer sounds awesome. I love cream soda. Uh, A&W cream soda is the best. Fight me on it. I think that the design for this castle is probably loosely based on that one castle in Germany that the Cinderella castle, I guess, that Walt Disney is based on, kind of loosely. It's got some of the same architectural features. I can't pronounce the name of that. Neuras, I don't know. I can't do it. But maybe somebody familiar with the that castle can tell me how to pronounce that. Good boozy butterbeer, huh? I'm gonna have to try that sometime. Zoom out just a little bit more. There we go. There we go. Oh, and I am drinking bourbon tonight, which I think would go fantastic with butterbeer. Bourbon is like the perfect mixer drink. All right, shove, Jeremy, draw. It's gonna take a while. Alnwick Castle? Oh, that's where they filmed? Oh, cool. Just David's a wizard. Notice how he just says that he went there, but the truth is he went to school there. Yeah, lots of tedious details on this. I say tedious just because, like, I don't know, you got to be careful with them because it is ink, and you don't want to get kind of carried away and just make random marks that you regret later. But again, the key to doing these line art pieces is you gotta kind of decide how you want to simplify the picture. It'd be great if you can add all the details that you see, but it's just not feasible. There's a point where it gets kind of maddening. So, you know, you want to get the basic architectural elements in there, kind of like hint at windows, like there's some windows in this turret up here. Just kind of draw some dots for that. Um, this is going to be tough. So this would be like a straight line and coming down, just a really light line. Because it's not perfectly round. But you don't want to go too crazy with this because it is meant to be sort of round. Thousands of kids ran around. That's great. My understanding is if you went to Universal Studios to the Hogwarts there, there's actually spells that you can cast. Like you can get a wand that interacts with I don't know, like these displays or whatever, and you can like cast spells that make different things new, like move and stuff like that. Trying to think, like I think I think there's like some animatronics or something that you can activate with the wand by moving it in a certain gesture or tapping it on something, probably like an RFID or something of that nature. I think things like that are cool. Kind of like an immersive experience. This is a really long one. See, this is just unnecessarily tall. Like, what's that even for? Like, that is a super tall cap to this little tower here for no reason. I'm being awfully judgmental of Hogwarts. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be. Just as I go to draw it, I'm like, this is madness. It doesn't make any sense. I definitely do want to get into the coloring part of it before, um, the night's over. So I want to be kind of mindful of the time and just kind of cut some details short if I run out of time. I do think this will look cool when it's done. I like Hogwarts. Um, as far as colors go, I kind of want to go with like, I don't know, something that adds to the mystery of it. It'd be kind of cool to do Hogwarts at night, but I don't know. Let's see, this one's up a little bit. So also I gotta count how many different things there are. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so I need to squeeze one more in there. Or just ignore it. I think I'll just ignore it. That's a bit much. There you go. For simplification, I'm just gonna ignore that there's 12 of these and just put in 11. See if anybody notices. And when they ask why I only put in 11 instead of 12, I'm gonna be like, magic, bro. This castle changes its appearance. That's my excuse if I screw something up. This castle constantly changes its like the stairs move everywhere, things go nowhere. I mean, I get that you think there should be an extra turret there, but no, that castle done moved it. I don't even know. Is this technically a castle? I guess it would be. I'm trying to remember if they referred to it as a castle in the films at all. I mean, it looks like a castle. I'm going to call it a castle. It's a school for witchcraft and wizardry. I heard I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard that they might be making a new TV show based on you know, the wizarding world of Harry Potter. That would be kind of cool. I don't think the last movie did all that well. Like nobody ever talks about it. Seems pretty forgettable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Look at that. By magic. I put all 12 in. You thought I couldn't do it. I probably messed up something else, so. Anyway, real fine lines. If you're paying attention, I'm not kind of like just doing it like really thick lines or anything like that. There's super fine lines, being very careful, trying to maintain. So, like, if this is at this angle, this one's got to be at this angle. That's it. No, Neuschwanstein Castle. Yeah, that's like. If I ever went to Germany, that would be my first place to go. Like, I love that castle. I used to draw it as a kid. Um, just because, like, I mean, it's basically the fairy tale castle, right? Like all fairy tale castles are kind of based on that castle, whether it's for Disney or just in general. I love that. The architecture of that thing is just amazing, and the surrounding environment is beautiful. I would love to live in that castle. I mean, visit that castle. I don't have to live in it, but that shit's probably haunted. Um, I've never seen pictures of the inside of that castle. New Swanstone. Yeah, oh, that makes sense because it's all white, or like a lot of it's white. That makes a lot of sense, actually. That's a great name. New Swanstone. Or the New Swanstone. Sorry, not Swan Song. It's funny how like just one little dot of ink can radically change one of these type of pictures. It's almost so yeah, you're drawing lines and stuff like that, but it's almost like what's it called? Like when you dot something ah, I was thinking about it earlier and I can't remember. Pointillism. There you go. It's almost like pointillism, depending on how. Like honestly, I'm drawing little short, subtle lines here, so it is very much like pointillism actually. Like I'm not making long thing, like really short, just so that I make sure I stay on the lines. All right, this is gonna be a pain. How am I supposed to do this? So there's like a lot of details in here. This side of the castle. Let me get that line there going. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so in between these turrets, basically alongside of each of these turrets is a line. And make sure all of these are straight. Somebody who's watching my show for the first time, having come to it from like one of those shorts where I'm just scribbling in charcoal, are probably like, whoa, what's this guy doing? You know. Hey Angela, how's it going? I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool, 500 people. Um, I also got like maybe 200 on Instagram and 200 on TikTok, so that's pretty cool. Um, Not a lot of time either, so like only since January, which is pretty awesome. Anyway, somebody who's familiar with my scribble art, they're probably like, wow, like this guy is going nuts on these details and stuff. All right, so got some basic lines in there, and then just below, let's see. Okay, so the end of the roof, kind of between them, like yay. Yay is a technical term. So in between them, like yay. Now, I wouldn't have any subscribers if it wasn't for you guys. So really, all the credit goes to you guys. So I really do appreciate that. Subscribers are cool. Makes you feel like you're doing something like worthwhile. All right, and then just below that, there's another line here, which represents kind of like a did that go all the way across? Yeah. All right, so I think it's fair to just draw that all the way across. And then put little breaks in between them. But the challenge is that these all have, so the problem with doing architectural pictures is that all the lines have to be basically straight, right? And they have to be in perspective. There's just a lot involved when you're drawing a person or especially a horse, right? So like horses, they're organic and there's, oh, cool. You guys are sharing the videos too. Man, you guys are really cool. I don't deserve any of this. I appreciate it. Thank you guys. You guys are really awesome. I like to think that I'm awesome because I'm hanging out with such awesome people. That's the way I'm gonna look at it. I think my dog just groaned. All right, so got that line across. Down here is another line. And say coming off of here about here. So connect these lines. Probably if I had like a ruler, I could guarantee these lines are straight, but I feel comfortable just kind of like, there you go. Yeah, that's cool. Relax, dog. It looks like one of my pictures fell down and scared the dogs. That's funny. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. I think my house is haunted. If my house is haunted, it's Ashley's fault. Um, we did that seance of Forrest Finn back in October. There you go. That's looking cool, right? I mean, if nothing else, that makes a pretty cool like church or something. I like that. All right, so there's like little windows in between each of these. I don't have to get nuts with those. They're just basically arches. Yeah, if you guys are sharing videos, man, that's above and beyond. You guys are really cool. I'd love to know what you guys do for fun. Like, I assume you guys watch this stuff because you're interested in art, or I don't know, you need some sleep or something, and my art puts you to sleep. I've actually gotten that as feedback. Some people have said, "Oh, your videos are so relaxing. They put me to sleep," which is cool. Hey, you know, whatever you need to get to sleep. That's cool. Let's see, so these are really tall windows here. Really want to go crazy on the details here. Just I don't know. A lot of people recognize Hogwarts, so like if you don't draw it matching their expectations, you know, they'll feel like something's off. And as you can see, it doesn't take much, you know. I'm just adding little hints of windows here. It's not like I'm drawing every single window pane. Well, Mama Q, we're gonna have to work on that. I need my art to put you to sleep too. Yeah. So like you don't really have to go crazy on the details. You just kind of want to like, I don't know, kind of hint at all the different pieces. And like I said, people know what Hogwarts looks like. So if you don't do it right, like if you don't add enough little things to make them feel like, oh yeah, that's totally Hogwarts, you know, um, they're gonna look at the picture and just be like, oh, I get what you're going for, but just something feels off, you know. But no, that looks really cool. Yeah. So if there ends up being that many people, like when Sticky Art came, it sent people over that one time, and there was just a bunch of people chatting. I could follow. You know, I'm gonna need some help. Uh, get somebody to moderate, but also just get somebody to like field me questions. I'm gonna have to train my dog to read the chat and like let me know. Hey, Jeremy, they've got a question. Oh, hold on, let me do Bear's voice. Can I do it? Hold on. Like, hey, Daddy, they got a question. They got a question. Yeah, she's wagging her tail. Yeah, that's your voice, buddy. You can tell that I've been drinking bourbon tonight. This shirt kind of has a box at the top, so they all kind of have this box at the top. So let me kind of reinforce that. All of these little, I'm gonna call them turrets. I don't know what they're really called. They're kind of in the distance, so it doesn't really matter on the detail so much. Um, but yeah, I think that looks better. The one of the problems is that if you make a mark that's incorrect, um, typically when you're dealing with pencils or you know charcoal or whatever, you can kind of go over it several times and make the line thicker, kind of hide your mistakes. But you can't really do that with ink you're unless you're just like adding shadow to begin with, because like the thicker your lines, the more shadow there is. So you can't really just cover up mistakes so easily. Um, so it's a little bit frustrating from that. Well, I wouldn't call it frustrating. It's not frustrating. It's just the nature of the medium, right? So like if you're doing a picture, you have to be comfortable with um, like just living with the mistake and just not trying to cover it up too much, because like if you try to cover it up too much, you're introducing more errors in it. So like you guys can't really see, it's kind of small, but right here this turret isn't perfect. I would redo that if could erase it. Um, but like really you just have to hope that the person doesn't notice, the viewer. You guys noticed because I pointed it out, but theoretically, if this was hanging on a wall or something, hopefully there's so much it would capture somebody's attention besides that they won't even notice. And then that's also another drawback, right? So like usually when you're drawing a picture, or at least the way I draw pictures, I try to put a lot of detail in like the focal point area, right? So like if I want to draw somebody's attention to something, I'll put a lot of detail there because that is what will attract their eyes. Um, in this, there's so much detail that it's kind of challenging to do that. Now you can just kind of like back here, I can just kind of like make a mark or whatever and just not add a lot of detail, which I'll probably do to kind of like force their attention somewhere. But anyway, it's just more difficult, I guess, in ink than if you're drawing in pencil to do that. I do like drawing trees in ink. Those are fun because really nobody's counting leaves there or sticks and stuff. You can get kind of like really creative with how you draw trees. Depending on how much time, I might try to put like a tree in here or something like that. Um, if I'm happy with this, I might do more of these in the future. Like tackle some famous places like I don't know, what's one of those places in Europe that has like a lot of detail in their architecture? Notre Dame, maybe? I think so. Something with like, I don't know, like is a buttress a thing? It seems like a word that people use. Something with a lot of buttresses. Just like I know nothing about anatomy when I go to draw like a person, I know nothing about architecture. Like I'm sure there's terms for all of these different architectural features that I'm trying to cram in here, but I would not know them. And I am not interested in learning all of them. I don't know. I am sort of interested. It's pretty cool. I like how this is turning out. If I don't screw it up, I'll be happy with it. Kind of hard to see the details through here. I think this kind of ends here with another kind of turret, but it's kind of lost in some of the other details. All right, so here there is a entrance, but it's not just like flat. It's three-dimensional and it's kind of got this arch here with several layers to it. So I have to draw kind of like these lines coming across. And then through here, it'll be dark. Now, this is the first time, not that one, first time I'll be able to use like one of these other pens that are thicker because like this is all lost in shadow here. So I'm switching. So in case you're wondering, I've got a set of pins. They've got numbers on them. What I've been drawing in has like an 8 on it. So like if that matters. The brand is this Mogi Yarn or whatever. I just picked it up off of Amazon. It wasn't that expensive. I think it was like less than 20 bucks, maybe 10. Um, and it came with like a huge set of pins. I only really use two of them, right? So I use this 8 just for like lines, and then I come back with this brush one to kind of add thicker lines wherever there might be shadows. Like for example, up in here, there are some shadows on these like little indentations. I might just come back with the brush thing and just kind of add those in. But most of the other stuff, I'm just doing the line work. So there are some windows up here. There's so many windows in this building. Let's quickly kind of hint at these. These are just squares with like little hats. I'm gonna call it squares with hats. Little windows sticking out. I guess those are probably like air vents or something for like when you're stuck in the castle roof, like attic or something. Is that where they kept the three-headed dog? I don't remember. I think that was on the third floor or something of some building. So if you're a dog and you're up here, you need these like little windows so you don't overheat. That's my thinking. All right. Well, that's the main building. Only took a half hour to draw. Oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna get to the color tonight. All right, I'm happy with that. I'm not gonna mess with that anymore. Got a little top of a turret sticking up here. This one that's actually back in the back. It's got a little copper cap to it. This is more work than I thought it was gonna be. Gonna put in some rocks here. All right, so moving along, got this little tower here, which is odd because that's the one I started with. I just did the cap of it and didn't do the rest. Got a little window up here, another little window here, and then some sort of structure down here. This is made of stone, so I have to kind of hint at that. And this is where I get into that pointillism thing. So like I'm trying to draw stone, I'm just really drawing a bunch of little dashes and stuff randomly. And you don't want to overdo it. But as soon as you add like a few dashes, the brain interprets it as stone. Like you don't really have to spend a lot of time on it. There's like some little thing sticking up here. There we go. All right, so man, every single piece of this thing is intricate. All right, so moving along. There you go, Moaning Myrtle. See, you guys are Harry Potter fans. I know somebody out there would like me drawing Harry Potter. That's awesome. Yeah, I don't know where the bathrooms are in this, but that's where she would be. What are they called? Potter heads? Trying to think what the Harry Potter fandom it's called. See, some sort of thing sticking up here. These are things off in the distance, but kind of draw them. I think little details matter. If I don't finish this up today, maybe I'll finish it up tomorrow and just do like a part two or something. Like maybe I'll try the inking today and not kind of cut corners or whatever, and then come back and just do a real quick wash and put that video up so that you guys get the full thing without having to, stay up all night or whatever. Because these details are taking a lot longer than I was hoping. Like whenever I drew pictures before doing YouTube streams, I never really tracked how much time I was spending on them. I just kind of did them. Um, since I've been doing YouTube streams, I've been trying to keep track just a little bit so that I can kind of figure out, well, if I do this type of picture, it's going to take this long. And if I do this type of picture, it's going to take this long. Like some of those quick sketches and stuff I do for shorts and stuff like that, like a speed drawing or whatever. I don't do those on the live stream in particular just because they don't really take that long. So like I can do like a quick sketch, portrait, whatever you want to call it, of a person in probably 20, 30 minutes. And that doesn't make for a very interesting live stream, you know? So I try to calculate the amount of time something will take when I choose pictures. I feel like these type of pictures probably require two streams, one for the detail work and then one for the watercolor side of it. And maybe the watercolor side of it would be shorter because you can put down like a lot of color pretty quickly. I do really enjoy doing these. I kind of get lost in the details sometimes, and I kind of get lost in the architecture. Like I can picture myself visiting this place, even though, well, besides the one in Universal, it's a fictional place. It doesn't really exist, but I can picture myself visiting there, and that's what makes it kind of fun. You know, like when you're reading a book or something, and they describe like a fictional castle or something like that, and you know, you don't even need like a floor plan to imagine the walk in the halls. Now, of course, we've got 10 years of movies that took place in this castle, so it's really easy to imagine. There were some exterior shots where they were on the grounds of Hogwarts, and you know, so when you're drawing Hogwarts, you can easily imagine that you're there hanging out with the kids, learning magic, or flying around in brooms and playing Quidditch and all of that stuff. It's not difficult at all, really. Versus, you know, I don't know, like King. Well, no, I watched all the games, Game of Thrones, but I was thinking like King's Landing in Game of Thrones would be a little bit more difficult to imagine, but no, pretty familiar with that place too. What's a fictional book that they haven't even made a movie out of? I don't know. Cool. And sometimes architectural detail is just putting in these like little random lines here and there. So like this, the top of this, above the windows here, it's kind of like two lines. So like if you just draw like a double line and stuff, it just kind of ups the detail, you know? Like these are the types of pieces of art that you can really get lost in the details just like staring at it. Like, I don't know. At least I do. There you go. Hogwarts will always be there to welcome you home. I love it. Honestly, those movies and those books and stuff were so well done. Like I know, uh, I don't know all the ins and outs, so like I can't really talk about it. But I know that not everybody's a fan of J.K. Rowling. I'm sure they have their reasons or whatever. But for me, I, I enjoyed the movies. You know, I don't care what her outlook is on different things and stuff like that. The movies were awesome. The books were awesome. You know, all the different characters were awesome. The story that they put you in, the world building. like not only just Hogwarts, but the entire wizarding world. Now, don't ask me to like remember places offhand and stuff like that, but honestly, that was one of my criticisms of Fantastic Beasts. So like when they started getting into some of the finer details and stuff, I'm like, I have no idea who any of these people are. Like that, those movies are very like lore driven, like where they talk about people um, as if you're supposed to know who the heck they're talking about. Like I would totally lose. Like I've watched every movie. I enjoyed them. I'm a fan. But if I entered like a Harry Potter trivia contest, I would totally lose that thing. I do like drawing like big jagged rocks and stuff in pen. Like this part's fun because you just kind of I don't know. I like castles that are sitting on big old like rocks. Like if there was a castle that was on flat land, I would be like, oh, man, that's totally boring. Like ink is really a lot of fun to draw like rocks and crevices and things like that. Like if I was out doing landscapes, I don't know, in the Rocky Mountains or whatever, I would love to do it in ink. And again, just like little subtle lines along this ridge here, just to kind of indicate rocks creeping up. Don't have to get crazy with it. It's kind of like, because a lot of that will be like in the actual watercolor itself, I think. Because like when you do watercolor, the water just kind of goes everywhere and kind of creates its own little like textures and stuff. So it's kind of lost in shadow. So you kind of double up those lines, do a little cross, like well, not necessarily cross hatching, but just hatching there, create shadows. So I'm guessing the light source is kind of up here or something, because like this causes a bunch of shadows. And then of course this is a rock wall and stuff. So you just again, like I said before, you just put in a bunch of little dashes, and people are like, "Oh, that must be a rock wall." It's easy. You just put in a bunch of dashes or like dots and stuff. You don't want to overdo it. Just kind of space them out a bit. I mean, that's starting to look like a castle, so that's cool. It's all shadowed. Let's see. Second line across here. Allergies getting to. So, who's your favorite Harry Potter character? Um, or we could get really complicated with it. Who's your like? Everybody likes all of the kids. Who's your favorite adult Harry Potter character? Like, I don't know. You have Dumbledore. You have Snape. You have the villains. You have Voldemort. Bunch to choose from. Cool. All right, I'll come back and add more detail to these rocks because, like, I feel like, well, let me add a few more here, just so there's not like just one straight line up a ridge or something like that. And again, this you're just kind of like you're simplifying the environment, So you put in as few or as many as you want, but my recommendation is less is more. So what is the minimal amount of lines that you can put in here to describe this environment? Like, um, what's the minimal amount of information needed to convey that these are rocks, right? Because it's not the focal point. People are focused on the architecture here. Yeah, Snape is awesome. I like Snape. So I would think that the focal point here is the architecture, and then environment. It becomes less and less detail orientated, right? So like as you get further down, you start leaving out details. You just kind of hint at details or whatever. Fewer, but then you also have to. You're also tasked with making sure that people realize that this is a rock cliff and that these are boulders and all that jazz, right? So, what is the minimal amount? Like these so far don't say rocks to me because those could be trees. So I probably have to add more there later, but I am going to move over to this piece here. I think I'm going to start with this turret up here. Hagrid and Dobby. Oh, I don't know about Dobby. Dobby's cute. I like Dobby, but Dobby also had that voice that I don't know. For me, it didn't. It was hard to like Dobby. Now, don't get me wrong. Well, I don't want to say anything because some people, believe it or not, still haven't seen Harry Potter. So I don't want to say anything that might be considered a spoiler. But anyway, there were parts of that show that made me, you know, a little sad, just like everybody else. But Dobby is not my favorite character. Hagrid. Hagrid is awesome. I like Hagrid. So tonight I'm doing this live stream, but I actually had the option of going to like a gallery hop, and it was a tough decision. I thought about postponing this thing to go to that, um, just because I really enjoyed looking at other people's art for inspiration and stuff. Um, so even though the gallery hop is tonight, and that's a big deal, the gallery still exists, right? So in because I didn't go tonight, I might actually go to this gallery called the Artist Attic. It's kind of a cool little community workspace that is in Lexington, Kentucky. It's actually the top floor of a building, and there's like a lot of artists who like that's their workshop, that's where their studio and stuff. I might go there and check out some stuff. As far as like actual activities, I gotta mow the lawn. I may go kayaking. I went kayaking for the first time this season last weekend. I've got a video that I'm gonna actually put out about that because like I started doing like a landscape picture from that. So expect that in the next couple of days. I don't think there's any events going on this weekend. There's a beer cheese fest, like where you can go around and sample a bunch of different beer cheeses. I might do that. But I don't know, Mama Q. Like that's the kind of question that I should be able to answer, and I just can't think of. I haven't put enough thought into it. Um, I'm sure tomorrow I'll do something, but I haven't put a lot of thought into what I'm going to do yet. What about you? What are you up to this weekend? Hopefully something outdoors. I'm not happy with this line over here. That's not perfectly straight. Yeah, kayaking is a lot of fun. Um, beer cheese. I love beer cheese. Yeah, I am kind of curious what all the different beer cheeses taste like, but I don't know. I don't think so like last weekend there was a lot going on. I don't think there's a ton of things going on this weekend around here. They should space these things out. They had like too many things last weekend, and when I was looking at the possible things to do this weekend, there weren't as many. You want to be me when you grow up? I want to be me when I grow up. Sounds more exciting than, I remember these things. Kayaking for me is just like, if I had one word to describe kayaking, I do it for exercise. Like it's a nice activity that you can do while you're outdoors. But to me, it's just super relaxing. Like I don't fish, I don't do any of that. Just, kayaking along like a creek or something like that. It's just so much fun to just relax and just kind of go with the water. I'm a water person, so like the sounds of water, the smells of water, birds chirping in the background, things like that. I love all of that stuff. It just makes me feel a lot more relaxed. Um, so that's definitely something I enjoy doing. Um, Sometimes it can be adventurous as well. Like like I like kayaking on creeks and small rivers, not like a big river. So like I like exploring these like inner waterways that are all throughout Kentucky, because it's almost like its own little world. Like you could have a creek going through like a town or something like that, and you can have like I don't know, businesses and people's houses and stuff, but you don't see all of that. I mean, you're just because like nobody like builds a house right on the river. There's always like all this brush and stuff. So it's like you're in your own little world. That's what I like. Now that said, I do like going on lakes as well, especially lakes that have like an island in the middle. I wanna paddle out to the island and explore it because like people don't usually just walk out there when they're fishing, things like that. Oh, is there forest fire? It's going. Sorry, I should read the comments. Like, yeah, is it a controlled burn or is that like an actual forest fire? Because I know sometimes out west they have those controlled burns. Like, if that's just a fire out of hand, like when is that going to stop? It seems like every season. I hope your knee surgery went well and or not. Sorry, your son's knee surgery went well and he recovers quickly. That sounds like a big pain. I would hate that. Actual forest fires, man. It better not be people doing another gender reveal. That is the lamest reason for a forest fire. That sucks. Well, I hope that doesn't last very long, that they can get it under control and it doesn't do a lot of damage. These forest fires, they're just getting kind of out of hand. I don't know, maybe they were always like that and I just never really paid attention, but like in recent years it seems like there's a lot more than usual. I only really started paying attention to how many forest fires there were when I started like traveling to the Rocky Mountains because like you always had to check like, well, is the place I'm going under, some sort of fire watch or like is it burning to the ground? It's just like it seemed like all the time there's just something going on out there where things are on fire. Yeah, there you go. That's where I would hide a treasure if I had one. Like I would hide it. Well, maybe one of these days I will hide a treasure, so maybe I shouldn't say this because everybody will be out on islands looking and stuff, and that's probably not where I'm gonna hide it. But I would love to hide a treasure on like an island. Because like you've got lakes that have islands in them and rivers. Like sometimes rivers split and there's like an island in the center. And the people who fish, unless they have a boat of their own, they don't go out there. And it's just really fun to go out and explore a place that nobody really spends all that much time. I'm probably not making any sense. In my defense, I am drinking. I don't even know what this is. Like, what is this up here? Does anybody know? I would say it's a I would say it's like a clock tower or something, but I don't think that's a clock inside of it. This looks like I don't know, maybe it's like sort of like portal. I mean, this is like the Wizarding World, right? Ah, lightning. Well, as long as it's not people, I guess I can't complain too much. But it does seem like there's way too many fires started by people these days. And always for the stupidest reasons. Like, I mean, people really shouldn't go camping if they don't know how to put out a campfire, for example. Like, I don't even think most of the fires are started by campfires, but like just as an example, like if you don't know how to manage your campfire, you really have no business going out and camping. That's like something you should learn before you go. Um, I was like a Boy Scout before, back when Boy Scouts wasn't so weird. Like I feel like Boy Scouts have gotten a bad rap in the last couple of years. But back when I was a kid, it wasn't terrible to be a Boy Scout. Um, I hope that Boy Scouts are actually doing very well. I have such good memories of being a Boy Scout that I really hope that that institution survives some of the recent scandals. But, if it doesn't, it doesn't. That's just the way things go. But I really enjoy being a Boy Scout. And some of the things that I learned are life lessons that I feel like everybody should learn at some point in their life. Basic survival skills, how to start a fire, how to keep track of your fire so that it doesn't start a forest fire. These are all things that people should know. Even people who live in the city, you never know when you might need those sort of basic survival skills. Oh, Toddy tonight too. Cool. Nice. I sound like I have a cold, but I don't have a cold. It's just the allergies. I get those every year. It's just part of my life. More windows up here for no reason. I'm gonna have to look up. I'm sure this is somewhere. Like there's some like people have documented every single piece of like Harry Potter lore. I'm sure somewhere there's information about who designed this castle. I'm gonna have to look that up and have a word with the architect here. Like, why so many windows for no reason? You've got windows going nowhere. This reminds me of, so what's that castle? Somewhere in California, by Sarah Winchester, the lady who inherited all of that money that was made from like making rifles or whatever, and she uh she said she could talk to the dead. I don't know, like Ouija boards or whatever. And they told her how to build her house, and it's now called the Mystery House just because it has like weird staircases leading nowhere and doors that open up and like there's no stairs or anything like that. You just fall out the side of the house. I don't know all the features. I'm just trying to remember what I saw in the documentary, but I feel like her architect designed Hogwarts. So just one little thing I noticed. I do not have the steadiest of hands, and oftentimes this type of artwork may make you think that you do need steady hands. Like you need to be very like precise in your thing. I don't think so. As long as you take your time it's okay if you have like little lines that aren't perfectly straight. If that's your style, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think that it detracts at all that your lines aren't perfect. You really just need to capture like perspective. So that line I just drew, it's not perfectly straight. You can see like there's some spaces left open. I think all of that's fine. Um, it's not like I'm drawing blueprints here or, it's not like it's an actual architectural drawing. It's okay to just suggest features. Like through here, there's like this little line that comes across. It's just like ornamental or whatever. It's okay that it looks a little, scratchy or whatever. Same with this one. Um, I think that those kind of things are actually visually interesting, and I think that viewers actually enjoy that kind of um, style, I guess. I don't know what else to call it. Sketchiness. I think that's fine. Yeah. So you're kind of like you're sketching in pen, and you're just suggesting different architectural features. They don't have to be photorealistic. Yeah, how to tie a good knot. The only one I really remember is the square knot. The square knot's really easy. I remember like they spent a lot of time talking about the bow line. Um, you know, they even had like this little easy way to remember it, like the rabbit comes out of the hole around the tree back into the hole, something like that. I couldn't tie a bow line to save my life. They spent all this time talking about the bow line and all the different uses for it. And I wouldn't know. Oh, I did learn some, like you can't really see it on camera, but I made this bracelet out of paracord. So like I do know some knots, from like Boy Scout days. But I also watched the tutorial on it, so it's not. I don't know how much is from like Boy Scout days and how much is from YouTube. But yeah, basically, I was thinking like I don't know if I'm going to be drawing and I'm right-handed, I should have something on my right hand so that it, you don't just see this naked arm drawing pictures. So I was like, well, I can tie knots. I can make this work. And back to the whole survivalist saying, if I'm ever stuck out in the woods and I need I don't know, 20 feet of paracord, I'm all set. I don't know why I ever would, but I do go kayaking, and I've got some tow lines and stuff like that for tying off to trees. My dad goes with me a lot, and sometimes he's even lazier than I am when I'm on when I'm kayaking. So like sometimes he just relaxes because like we drink beer while we're out kayaking and stuff, and I'll tow him for a bit, and you know a little bit of line for things like that. Never hurt anybody. You never know when you might need a rope. This public service announcement brought to you by Jeremy. Oh, hey, Ryan, how's it going? Yeah, I might have some time to actually put in color, but really, I just want to get the all the lines down in this session. I think I will add a little bit of color. Well, I don't know. Like, I don't want to make any promises because, like, I really don't know. But I've got, two, three turrets left. I think I might have some time to actually put in some color. But I've been wanting to do Hogwarts for a while, and I just like doing this. This is very relaxing for me. So um, I might do more of these in the future of famous buildings or whatever. I would do some of like local, like around Lexington or something like that, but we don't have a lot of interesting architecture here. There's better stuff up in Cincinnati or out in Louisville. Like, what are all these windows? These must be dormitories over here. These little windows are just kind of lined up too symmetrically. I feel like this is the dorms. I have never ever considered Harry Potter architecture before today. Like, I've looked at Hogwarts many times and just kind of took for granted all these places are in it. But now, as I'm drawing it, I'm like, well, where exactly are those staircases that move around? I'm thinking they're in this building here. Like, these are almost certainly the dorms. And if not, they're lying. That's where I would totally put the dorms. But now I'm kind of wondering, in relation to the castle, where is Hagrid's little cottage? Like, are the woods behind here, or like they're not in front? I don't, I don't know where all that stuff is in relation, and that kind of stuff will like weigh on my brain. Like where is that? Like I'll look that up later, 'cause- unless I forget about it, which is probably just as likely. But if I remember to, I will look that up later because I'm super curious where the forest actually is. And that one drawbridge, there was a couple of scenes on it. Where's that at? So a little bit of space between this turret and this other turret. When it comes down here. I like the forced perspective on this. This is probably like the universal Hogwarts. I don't know if this is the model from the movie, but you've got this like neat little perspective here. Um, that one's a little bit high. Really, all these lines, like drawing in ink, is really just having a light touch. Just very carefully dragging your pen across the paper. Like I'm not here scribbling or anything like that, like I do sometimes with pencils. Just very lightly draw things across, and then if you do it really lightly, you can kind of control it a little bit better. And then there's some sort of building back here. I don't know if there's like a lot of detail to that. All right, cool. I mean, honestly, I think that's enough to where we can maybe try to put down some color. There's more detail I can maybe put down here. Let me go ahead and finish up this bit over here. I'm just gonna kind of lightly scribble in some rocks, cliff ledge type stuff. If you're going to send your kids off to school, it's probably a good idea to put them in a place like this where they can fall off a cliff and, you know, nobody will ever see them again. Down behind the school next to the Forbidden Forest. Okay, so I assume that's behind this. That makes sense. Thanks. You guys are a wealth of knowledge. All right, so I am going to try to put down some color just to, you know, we're only like an hour and 15 minutes into this. I don't know what colors go well with this. Um, you've got, let's see, what colors do I have here? Got, see, I've got some black. And if I add like a lot of white to it, that could be gray. So let me get some black. And let me get a lot of white. And then there's maybe some kind of like, there's definitely some orange in this, but not a lot. And there's more yellow. This is where I kind of struggle. I'm not very good at mixing colors yet. That's something I'm practicing. But no time like the present, so maybe a little bit of yellow ochre. And of course, I need a paintbrush. So I'm not going to be really careful with the colors. Just gonna get things wet. So what's cool, I forgot to mention it this time, but I've mentioned it in the past. The pens I use are waterproof. So you wouldn't be able to do this without that. So if you are interested in doing this kind of art, make sure the pens that you buy are waterproof and also archival. Like just, when you go to Walmart and you just pick up some pens off the shelf, they're not always archival quality. And what I mean by that is, sometimes inks break down over time and stuff. You want the archival quality just so that um, like say the picture actually turns out well and you want to keep it or something. You you want to make sure it lasts. Okay. Sorry, I was distracted by my mess over here. All right, so this might be a bit much. I don't know. Let's see what happens. So this part here is definitely in shadow. This is all in shadow up here. Oh, I perfect towel. I don't know that. Yeah, there's too much. I don't want to. So I'm just kind of going for a base coat here at this point. I'm still learning watercolor, so you know, kind of fill in as I go along here. Mostly like the more what I'm learning when it comes to watercolor is how to fix mistakes, how to like backtrack on things. So what's cool about watercolor is you can kind of erase if like things don't go well. You can use a paper towel to kind of like blot it out, or you can use like some clear water or something to kind of pick up some of that color. But I'm not throwing down like a lot of color on this castle anyway. It's pretty monotone. But there are some places that have seen, more aging over time than others. And I'm using a round brush here just to kind of like, kind of blot that color all over the place. It'll probably take, I don't know, 2, 3 layers of watercolor to really get it to where I want. Because like right now, this is kind of looking a little too brown. I want it to look more gray. So I'll probably come out over it with some like a gray wash or whatever. But it doesn't hurt to start with this brown, I think, because like I don't know, stone is brown mostly. So I'm gonna call this an underpainting. There's also some greens up here in these turrets. Um, so I will probably come back and try to add that at some point. Just looking to get all of the toned areas in. See if I can lift up some of this. Also, I don't want to go too crazy with stuff now because I do kind of want it to dry quickly. So that, you know, I can come in and do some more. The great thing about like the ink and wash is most of your detail is already there in the ink. So you don't have to get like really crazy about the color. The color is like more like an accent. And it's kind of cool. It just goes right over the ink. The ink shows through. Watercolor is pretty transparent. So I think that's a good start on the castle. I'm gonna let it dry, and then maybe come back with some. Yeah, Harry Potter is awesome. It's like of the TV shows that you can watch nowadays, it's probably the most wholesome, like easy to share with like family or something like that. Um, I'm gonna move this over here so that it's not in my way. All right, so for the rocks, yeah, so I mean, it's pretty wholesome. Like it's mostly not controversial. I don't know. Could be everything's controversial these days, but I've never felt bad sharing it with my nieces or nephews or anything like that. I know my grown niece, she loves Harry Potter and she shares it with her kids. It's one of those things that like, people of all ages can enjoy. My parents like it, you know. I don't know anybody who hates Harry Potter. There are some people who are like, well, I just never got around to it or something like that, but I don't know anybody who hates Harry Potter. So probably all of this is going to dry like a lot lighter than it looks now. But just want to get some texture on those rocks. See, now they look more like rocks. Before, you could have confused them as a clump of trees or something like that, but I guess color does matter. And then, what's great about this sort of style of picture is that like if you think it needs more detail later, you can come back and add it. So like I'm not like set in stone on all of this ink. I can still add more if I want to. It's not like I've finished that and I have to call it done. I can just take a break from inking, and I you can draw over the watercolor with the inks, but you probably, and because of waterproof, you can probably do that pretty quickly. But you should probably let it like completely dry if you can. And in terms of like watercolor, at this point, I'm using kind of like a almost a dry brush. There's not like a lot of water on this. In fact, I want it to be kind of like subtle, so I'm kind of like letting it um, just kind of sink into the page, and it's just really subtle, I think. I'm gonna go there messing with the car. Oh, cool, cool. Magic wand. She get the deathly. So is that the elder one? Like, she get the full Deathly Hallows logo tattooed on you. what's the symbol for the bad guys? They all had the mark on their hand, like the followers of what's his face, Voldemort. Anyway, I think that's good enough for now on that. Let me move on to the sky. So I want the sky to be blue, but kind of like gray blue, if I can get away with that. Throw some blue over here. That might be a bit much. The dark mark. Thank you. See, you guys know all this stuff. You guys ever do Harry Potter trivia? I feel like you guys would be good at it. So I got some blue going on here, but I don't want it to be like just blue. I want it to kind of be like a little bit of black. I don't, this is where I screw up. See, that's really black, but kind of mix all this stuff together. But I don't think it's going to dry that black. So I'm gonna take a risk. I think it's going to dry much lighter, or at least it has in the past. That's a lot of water. This is where I screw up my picture. I think it's fine. And then, like I said, you can kind of remove some of this stuff. So, like, say you want some clouds or whatever, you can add some texture with like paper towels. I knew this one guy, um, this one watercolor artist who went out of his way to buy a particular paper towel. And what it was is he did house like homes and buildings and stuff like that. And there was this one paper towel that had the texture of. There you go. Let's get some blue up in there. There was this one paper towel that had the texture of bricks, right? So like he would use that to actually create bricks on his buildings just by laying down the paper towel to kind of mop up the mess. And I mean, it was perfect. It looked just like bricks, and it was this really cool technique he had. So the problem is that they stopped selling that paper towel, and he would travel really far. Like I think it was like 50 miles to go to this one store where he found paper towels. Every time he needed that particular paper towel, he would drive that far just to pick it up. Now, this was probably before the days of the internet where you can kind of like order things online, but that's the kind of dedication some people have to their craft, you know? Like he wants to make sure that all of his um, paintings are consistent and that they all have that brickwork from that paper towel. It's pretty cool. This is where my paper usually starts bowing. I use the cheap watercolor paper. If I can lift up some of that stuff before. And then I'm liking how this is turning out, but if I don't like the colors, one of the other things that I do is I sometimes use like colored pencils to kind of correct some colors and stuff. I don't know if I'm going to need that here, but it's kind of it's a technique that can be used. I do like painting. This is fun. So I'm trying to stay within the lines, but again, because I added that ink line drawing, I don't have to be so careful, I can kind of like just paint around it, and if things overlap, it's fine still because like I added that definition through the ink that you know I may not be able to get with the water color or whatever. That's right. We did do. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to the chat. Yeah, we did do Harry Potter trivia. That's right. We should do that again. We still have that bot, I think, that that's the trivia questions. So unlike in school, you don't have to really like be totally careful. Plus, again, like I said, this is going to dry much lighter. Yeah, you don't have to be so careful about staying in the lines. You can overlap some things if you want to. It's all good. So I I'm okay with the darkness over here, but it does kind of look a little weird to not have more darkness over here. So I'm gonna kind of give it this vignette, however you pronounce that, vignette, veneer. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want clouds seeping up here. Now for down here, I haven't put a ton of thought into that yet, but I might put in some trees and there's some water down there somewhere, I'm sure. Some darker blues up here. I love the way watercolors actually dry. Like all these colors get kind of like mixed together. It creates some cool textures. Blue. Blue clouds up in here. It looks like a mess, but that's the way it goes. And then it dries. It just magically looks cool. It was a dark and stormy night. That's what I'm seeing here. Somebody cast their own spell. That's what it was. I definitely need more water than that. I kind of feel like, yeah, I kind of want some purple up here too. I want to be a little bit careful through here. Yeah, something wicked this way comes. I like it. Mama Q's got it. Yeah, that's a little bit more black than I thought. It's really hard to make a mistake when it comes to like clouds because again, when it dries, it's gonna well, the sky, sorry, not cloud. When it dries, it's gonna look like clouds, and it's really kind of hard to screw it up. He says. Watch some of this up coming up here. Like I've done an entirely black sky before, and it ends up looking like this really cool gray. Kind of want this to just kind of fade out down here. Right. I want to add like a little bit of purple too, just for fun. I don't know. I am kind of curious how that's going to dry. But... Hard to see on camera. Great thing about adding a bunch of different colors is that people think it's intentional, but really you're just having fun experimenting. Like, I don't know what this guy looks like at Hogwarts. I ain't never been there. Just don't want it to be all gray, you know. I want it to. Now, one of the things I do dislike, I should probably comment on this, dislike about, doing these live streams where I'm having to do it on a flat surface so that you guys can actually watch it with the camera overhead and everything, is I like some of the effects that other people do when they kind of like hold the paper up and water just kind of drips down. I think that's kind of cool. So I don't know how to do that unless I have like a clipboard or something that the paper's on and then like I tilt it. I'm gonna have to think about that as I practice with watercolor more. Because like really all that color should just be dripping down. That would be awesome. At least in my mind. I don't know what awesome would be. In my mind, I think it would look awesome. All right, that's probably enough up there. Let that dry, see if it lightens up a bit. I think it will. Let me add a little bit more black through here just so that it's not all like on one side. So I like the strokes coming down. I don't know how much of that will translate when it dries, but I like that because it kind of looks like rain coming down. Anyway, that looks like a hot mess. Just let it sit for a while and we'll adjust it if we need to. All right. So let me clean my brush here. So I think really lightly I can put some of that blue. One of the other things I like doing is mop up some of this and just put it over here. So I like using the same colors throughout, um, and kind of tying things together. So if I do that, let me get it really wet. I can maybe add some, yeah. I can bring those colors into like the turrets and stuff like that. And then this roof is pretty blue. As well. Like all of these roofs, is that a word? Plural roofs? Roofs are pretty blue, to be honest. They're kind of like a gray blue, but I think they'll dry that way. And then once this all dry, I'll come back with like the brush marker and kind of reinforce some of those lines a bit, I think. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that, I think. I think it'll dry fine. I'm not happy with it, but I think it'll dry fine. And if not, I'll make adjustments. All right, so let me see. So there is kind of like some water down here. I want kind of like water down here. And then I think there'd be some like trees randomly throughout. I didn't draw any trees, but I don't know. Let me put in some water and see how it goes. Get all this really wet because I want this to be kind of light. So I'm kind of pre-wetting it here. That paper pretty much soaked. And then I think I can just kind of like put a little bit down here and it'll kind of like blend. And I think this will create a nice soft water, I think. Once it dries. It takes a little while. Like already up here, it's kind of hard to see on camera, but up here I'm kind of getting that texture that I was hoping for. So this doesn't have to be crazy because I already know what I think I'm gonna do with this foreground. Once it dries a little bit, I'm gonna put rocks in the foreground to kind of frame it in, and then have some trees coming off the side, Bob Ross style. I think that'd be cool. And then once this dries, I'll kind of reinforce some of the texture in the water. So that said, I also need some black in this water down here. Just because this water is going to be reflecting the sky. I know this looks like a mess, but it's going to dry better. What they call it, like the ugly phase. I'm not blind. I know it looks like a mess, but it gets better. So I'm gonna kind of sketch in the little hillside that I've got in my mind. So you're like looking off at Hogwarts in the distance. And, just for Mama Q, I'm gonna throw in some pink and some purple. So this is going to be a hillside. Got the water there. So we were looking at that kid in Discord. Um, yeah, I don't know. It like the guy hasn't said who he is or come up any information about that or like kind of backed up his claim to have like his treasure hunt, he says it like I would love to go looking for his treasure to be honest with you because it's supposed to be in the Appalachian Mountains. Which, is nice and convenient for me. Um, he put a huge dollar amount on it. He says there's three different treasures and a total of $3 million. That sounds like a lot, right? But he hasn't offered any kind of like way to verify that the money's there, that it's not a hoax, that there's anything actually to it. And then some of us in Discord kind of like looked into it a bit, and I don't know. I would like to see evidence that there's actually money there, because if it's all talk or he's trying to sell something to make up the money to award as a prize, it's hard to be interested. And I suspect that's probably what's going on. Like at some point he's expecting to make money off the treasure hunt and then use that to pay out the prize. But there's not even enough information about it to even say that. It's just my impression of like from what I've seen. I would like to know more about it, but he's not put any of that out there. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. But obviously, if there's no like, if it's a hoax or there's no money to it, then I'm not that interested. Even though it would be super convenient. I'll put another little ridge back here. It does seem really thinny. So like if you search for the guy, if you just do like a Google search for like Neo Baden, you'll see that he was a Forrest Fenn treasure hunter back in the day. So I'm sure it's heavily inspired by his own experiences in the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt. But again, I'm not convinced that he actually has any money to pay out. I would love for him to demonstrate that, and then I would feel more comfortable looking into it or even recommending it to other people. But right now, I don't feel comfortable recommending it until I don't know, something's got to be shown to prove that there's actually any money to be made. That's the politest way I can say it. It So down through here, it should kind of look like a little bit misty and maybe some like loosely defined features. Again, it kind of sucks because you have to wait for the paper to dry before you can really put in the kind of layers that I'd like to put into this. So at this point, I'm kind of wondering, let me get a clean paper towel. I want to introduce some greens for trees, but I don't know if things are dry enough to get to that point. I go with I wonder if I've opened this one before. It doesn't seem like that. Yeah, I think he mentioned in one of his videos that he was going to be like there were supposed to be some more videos and books put out this summer, but I don't know. Like we kind of looked into it on Discord and I think we found who the guy is, and all I can say is I don't know. He's got to demonstrate that he's actually got the money because I think I don't want to say anything bad about it because I don't really know. Like I don't want him coming back and saying, "Oh, you said a bunch of bullshit about me" or anything. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that I haven't seen it demonstrated that he has the funds that he's saying is available for the prize, you know? It would be really awesome if he can put something out there to kind of like demonstrate that. Because if it's just a treasure hunt where he expects to make $3 million and he's going to give that out as a prize, I mean, great. I hope he does, but he needs a ton of people interested in it to make that kind of money off of it, you know? Uh, Forrest Wynn's treasure hunt had maybe, I don't know, like around 400,000 people. Yeah, he's got show me the money. So he hasn't asked for any money yet, but he has put out some videos, or I think linked to some things where he's asking for donations and stuff. That's not going to cover $3 million. I don't know if he's planning on selling books and he expects those books to like get him that much money or whatever. I don't really know what his business model is, but I'm I will say I'm pretty skeptical that he has that money now. You know, he may be expecting to get the money, and then I'd be skeptical that he's going to make that much. I'm just doing random things here, by the way. Sorry if I got like a little distracted. I'm gonna add a little bit of, sorry for reaching across the picture here, but a little bit of wash. So this is a little bit of gouache, and the thing about gouache that I mentioned before is it is opaque, and that means that you can use it over other colors. I kind of want to clean up my sky a little bit. I think if I add a lot of water to that gouache, kind of mix it with a little bit of watercolor here. Maybe add a little bit of white. Yeah, that's too much white. I'm not happy with this cloud. What is going on here? So hopefully that dries a little less opaque. I just wanted something like light over it. And a lot more water to it. So I wanted like little wispy clouds up here, but I might have screwed that up. We'll see if I can fix it. Blot that out a little bit. That's actually kind of cool. Yeah, I mean, if it continues not to cost anything for his treasure hunt, that's kind of cool. But I'm still wondering, like, is there actually a prize? Because I mean, it's one thing to just be in it for like trying to solve a puzzle or whatever, but if he promises $3 million, I mean, that's pretty substantial. I'd like lots of color to these hills. So I have no idea what this is actually going to look like until everything kind of dries up and stuff, and I can kind of like make adjustments. My idea of adding little puffs of white clouds didn't work out, so kind of backtrack on that a bit. See if I can lift up some of these clouds over the sky. Blend that out a little bit. So right now I'm kind of adding a little bit of water to this to kind of soften this up a little bit. It's a little more intense than I wanted it to be. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. I mean, $3 million, that's a lot of money. That's more than the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt. Add a little more green down here. I like that green. So once this dries, I'll add some texture here to really define these trees a little bit better. Hi, Hillary. Welcome. Just hanging out. We're coming up at the 2 hour mark, which is usually what I try to limit my videos to. But if you guys are comfortable, I think I'm just going to keep going. I don't really have any reason to hop off right now, so I'm just going to let this dry and kind of continue tinkering with it. So you guys are welcome to stay and hang out, or if you jump ship, I'm not going to hold you against you. Like if you guys got things that you got to do in the morning or whatever, I am not going to not going to have a problem with you guys hopping off. So we're kind of doing a like a Hogwarts kind of scene. I'm hoping that this dries lighter because it's a bit dark right now. It kind of looks like almost like it's nighttime, which was not intentional. And trying to get some of these base colors in here so that I can come back over it with some ink and add some more details. And some grays through here. I know it's going to dry lighter. But I don't know. I don't do watercolor a lot, so I don't have the experience to know exactly how it's going to look when it dries. can't say it's fun making a mess with these watercolors. Well, I appreciate that, Hillary. Thank you. Sorry, every now and then I remember to check chat. Yeah, so like I can already see, it's hard to see on camera, but some of the colors are starting to lighten up in the castle itself, which is cool. I'm gonna go back to this wash here because it is opaque. I have an idea. One of the things that I don't like is that the castle, yeah, I'm gonna kind of highlight the castle a little bit by going around it with this, kind of make it glow a little bit. I kind of like that. Personally, I think that's kind of a cool effect. It's fun to experiment, you know. That's kind of the theme of this show, actually, is you know, I'm learning, so you're not going to get like a lot of expert advice on here, but as I learn, maybe you guys learn, I don't know. It's it's kind of fun to experiment with different things just to kind of learn. I don't know what I'm saying. By the way, I've been drinking bourbon tonight, and I may not be making much sense. But I do like adding this little addition of wash here to kind of highlight the castle. Probably wouldn't have been necessary if I applied the watercolors a little bit differently. But that's kind of cool. Kind of blends things together a little bit around here. Give it this cloudy thing. What are you doing over there, dog? That might be a bit much. Yeah, that kind of looks cool. So I do know that once this dries a little bit more, I'll come back with some ink and add some trees and stuff like that, and that'll look pretty cool. I might actually have to call this done and let it dry and then revisit it in the morning and add some of those details. but I'm not ready to call it yet. I feel like I can get some more in here. I don't have, I don't like how there's like this column here. I'll bring that blue over a little bit. All right, so that definitely needs to dry. This is all still pretty wet. Got a pool of water right there. This is still pretty, yeah, I can't even add any ink yet. So I might have to call it quits for now and then wait for this. I think my mistake was there was more ink that I should have added before I came in and did all of the wash with the watercolor. Because now I'm kind of in this position where I have to wait for this to dry before I can come in and add more ink. There's definitely more foreground stuff that I want to do. Um, like I want to come in here and like really make this dark so that I can add some trees and stuff like that in the foreground. Um, Obviously this is supposed to have some tree foreground in it. Um, yeah, so I might actually have to let it dry. But we can hang out and chat if you guys want, or and watch it dry, or we can revisit this in the morning. I don't know. Like, let me try to add some ink in places that I feel like it is dry enough to work with. While I'm just sitting here, just so that I'm not like wasting your guys' time. That sounds like fun. Yeah. See, I think it's dry enough through here that I can kind of, get kind of a little crazy with some trees over here. The cool thing about trees is you're kind of just like sketching with the pen. And if you've got like a light touch, you can get away with that. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are actually and yeah, I really need I need like a hair dryer or something. That's what I next time I do one of these pictures, I'm going to have a like a hair dryer or something like that to kind of speed up the process. But I like that you guys are chatting in here. Like because you guys are chatting in here, I don't feel guilty about like stretching this out. Like if you guys weren't talking, like just whatever, I would probably just call it and come back and revisit it tomorrow. But since you guys are actually you seem to be having a good time, I'll just continue drawing trees. I'd say there's probably like a trunk I'm sure here. I love this brush marker. Honestly, I would buy a dozen of these things by themselves, just a brush marker. Like I feel like I can do an entire picture just in brush marker. It makes me feel like I don't know, like a Chinese or Japanese illustration. Plus, you guys don't need me. You guys are having fun by yourselves. That's cool. It does look like that sky's lightening up, which is good because that's what I was concerned about. Oh, thank you. Nice tree. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm just kind of enjoying myself doing the tree at the moment. Like I don't think I have a plan for it so much. I just kind of want some foreground here so that the castle looks like off in the distance. I enjoy drawing trees because it's just I don't know. You just kind of just make a bunch of different marks kind of randomly. And as long as you're like really light with it, this brush pen kind of does all the work. Now, I'll probably have to come back once things dry. Yeah, see, you can see some smearing here because this isn't totally dry yet, so I have to avoid that. That's what I was kind of concerned about, but that's okay. It's just that one little spot's fine. I got too close to this puddle of water, this right here. It doesn't look like a puddle of water on camera, but there's like a puddle here. Let's see if I can speed that along. But now I got a white. It's fine. Anywho, once this is done, I'm gonna have to come over it with some green to kind of reinforce it as a tree. But yeah, just these little marks with the pen is so fun. I don't even know what kind of tree I'm drawing. I'm just drawing a random tree. Like at this point, I'm just kind of winging it. So I think that's kind of cool. I don't know how much down here I would want to be black and much of it I would just get another little happy tree going here. Get like a trunk going here. Branches coming off there. Honestly, trees are so much fun to draw. I gotta avoid that little wet area here. So it's kind of interesting the difference in the mark making. So here I'm just kind of being random and just kind of drawing all over the place, letting trees grow however they want. Versus up here, if you recall, I was like being very precise. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I should pull out some of my dad's work sometime. I've got a couple of drawings he made probably back, I don't know, at least the 80s, but probably like the 70s. They're pretty cool, like I don't think he spent a lot of time drawing pictures. Like I think it was just kind of like I don't know. You know, if you have any bit of talent drawing pictures, you just draw pictures for no reason. I think that was kind of like what my dad did. I told him we should we should do one of those things where like I divide a piece of paper in half. He draws one half, I draw the other half. I think that would be kind of fun. Maybe I'll do that sometime. Just random bushes drawing in here. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Just want to fill this corner with some foliage. But I do think when it comes to like trees, you can be kind of random like this. And honestly, I think I'll vary up the thing. I don't want it all to be like brush marks. I want to kind of like make it a little bit, vary up the types of pens. So I am kind of curious about that. Let me switch to this other pen and see what happens if I just kind of come in. Yeah, so you can make like smaller marks so that it's not all like one um, density, I guess. When it comes to doing like foliage of any type, it really is just kind of scribbling, you know. The Whomping Willow. Is that where this was? I don't know. I thought that was like in the courtyard or something like that. You're talking about the tree that like grabbed their car, right? Ron Weasley's whose car was that? He stole the car from like his folks or something, or maybe his brothers. I don't know. So again, you can kind of vary up your pin marks so that they're not all like the brushes and stuff like that. Like out here, you can get kind of like a finer point. Yeah, I don't remember either. Yeah, I kind of feel like all right. So it was that's like what I was gonna do this week. I kind of feel like I'm gonna watch some Harry Potter films just to get more familiar with them. Especially some of the later ones. So like I feel like the okay, so it was his dad's car. Thank you, Mama Q. She wants to win all the trivias. I see what she's up to. Um, so I feel like I've watched the first one a million times, right? So like that one was groundbreaking as far as like special effects go, and they played it every holiday. Like I feel like most of us have seen the first one, the Sorcerer's Stone, like countless times. But some of the later ones, I feel like I've only watched those maybe like a handful of times. And I feel like some of those I can rewatch. Certainly the last two, like the Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2. I feel like I've only watched those maybe three times. I don't know. That bourbon's kicking in. It feels good. My confidence level and my artistic ability has grown significantly since I've been drinking this bourbon. Every single thing I do is just awesome now. This little pen mark here is the best pen mark, like this one right there. That little mark I just made, the best pen mark in the entire world. I should submit this to an art contest. It's that good. Which one was four? What happened? So, Sorcerer's Stone, Chamber of Secrets. That's two. Um, Order of the Phoenix. or Prisoner of Azkaban? Let's go. I'm gonna say Prisoner of Azkaban, Order of the Phoenix. Oh man, I lose track after that. I don't know. Maybe Order of the Phoenix was before Prisoner of Azkaban. Goblet of Fire. I always forget that one. Why do I forget that one? I don't expect you to answer that. Like, I don't know why I forget that. Yeah. Is there there's yeah, like no? Don't use a Harry Potter song for it? No. Yes. Okay. I feel like I'm talking to a magic eight ball here. No. Yes. Answer unclear. All right. So that's pretty cool. I feel like for balance, I need to add something to the other side, but I'm not worried about that at the moment. Right now, I'm gonna kind of cheat. Obliviate spell. Yeah, I think the Harry Potter theme song will go perfect for the short. That one short that I did where we were talking about the Ewoks and stuff, I went looking for that song. I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it available for use. But I did find the I, I forget what it was called, but the actual song from the original Star Wars Return of the Jedi, where the Ewoks were dancing and stuff like that. I did find it and listen to it. It was very entertaining. Trying to do on the other side to kind of balance. I want to create some balance here. This is a problem when you just kind of wing it and you don't have a clear composition in mind. You're just kind of relying on principles of, well, now it feels kind of very right heavy, and I don't want it to. Put something in over here. Maybe just like a big tall tree. Yeah, this is turning out okay. I feel like this is all dry enough for here. Your favorite secondary Harry Potter character at all? Favorite secondary Harry Potter character. So I kind of like Ron and Hermione's storyline where they ended up getting together because I wasn't expecting that at first. Like when the show first started, I kind of thought that Hermione and Harry were going to end up together, and I kind of liked that they didn't. I kind of liked that they kind of put Ron with Hermione, and Ron was a pretty cool character. I liked him. I thought his brothers were just funny. Like I really enjoyed them. Um, Hagrid, I don't know all the details of Hagrid, but he was pretty cool. Definitely liked Hagrid. Dumbledore was pretty cool. Um, Now that I think about it, and like I like that they went back in Fantastic Beasts and kind of like fleshed out his character a little bit. But I'm not sure I fully understand everything about Dumbledore. I feel like there's still some mystery there that kind of escapes me a bit. Still wet over there. Oh, Luna. Luna was a great character. I love. Yeah, she was cool. Um, who did Harry actually end up with? Jenny. She was pretty cool. But I feel like they didn't spend a lot of time on Jenny in the movies, like outside of Chamber of Secrets. They didn't really do a lot of character development with her. Trying to remember all the other characters now. So who was the most wasted character? Like if you did, I I assume some of you guys read the books, but if you read the books and you saw the movie, who do you guys feel like they didn't really do very well in the movie? Like what character was kind of wasted? I don't remember who Crookshank was. Who was the guy with the eyeball, the fake eyeball? Like I barely even remember that guy. Wormtail. Oh, the cat. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. There's a lot more detail in this picture than I remember. I feel like I'm learning a lot just from like reading you guys in chat. I don't remember any of this stuff. How do you guys remember these things? feel like this is almost like a cartoon rendition or like a comic rendition of the Harry Potter's castle. I should really do comic books. I feel like I would enjoy doing that. Because Harry Potter was amazing. That's the right answer. Yeah, I think at least part of my weekend is going to be rewatching some Harry Potter movies. That seems appropriate after drawing Hogwarts. Do a bunch of comic books and then sell them to Mike. Fill up his garage again. Irritate Capro there. So I've kind of stopped explaining what I'm doing at this point just because I'm kind of like winging it. I keep switching from the brush to kind of like define some of these architectural features a little bit more back to this finer line just to kind of fill in some of these rocks. I kind of like this. Like I didn't put a lot of detail into these rocks before, but now that the color is dry, um, it's it's kind of a good spot to come in and add some details to these rocks and kind of like make them look more rockish. Of course, that's a fully technical term there, rockish. I don't know if it's very safe to have kids living at Hogwarts, to be honest with you. There are several parts of the movie where those kids were very much in peril. And just looking at these rocky cliffs, I'm like, I don't know if parents should let their kids go to Hogwarts. Looks like a death trap. Well, thank you. Yeah, I probably will binge watch all these movies this weekend. Was that 10 years of them? Like what, 20 hours worth? Yeah, so the moving stairs, no. Like well, they've got like spells to kind of like heal people and stuff like that. I feel like without that, there would definitely be some lawsuits against Hogwarts. Like they would constantly be sued by parents of like kids that have like fallen off of cliffs, been eaten by trolls, fell off a pair of like a flight of stairs that just suddenly like went the other direction. It is not safe living at Hogwarts. Like they tell you not to go into the forbidden forest because for like safety reasons or whatever, but like just hanging out at Hogwarts itself will kill you. Like you wake up in the morning, you go down for breakfast or something, and like you're half asleep, so you're just kind of like finding your way to the mess hall from memory, and whoops, fell off a flight of stairs. Yeah, I feel like I can binge that. I like those rocks. Those look cool. I'm happy with this side of it. This side here, I've got like a lot more work to do. Teenagers are dangerous. I remember so many different things that I could have like died from as a teenager. This one time, me and my friends went to this big bridge, like it was an interstate bridge over like a gigantic river, and I don't know. I want to say it was several hundred feet up in the air, and we noticed that there was like we had gone canoeing on the river that was underneath it, and we looked up and we saw that there was this catwalk underneath it, and we thought, hey, that sounds like fun. Let's go walk on this catwalk underneath the bridge. So we snuck out there one night and we're walking along that. And then we thought, hey, let's go out on these like little bridge trestles, I guess they would, I don't know, like the bars and stuff. And we went out there and like as an adult, I look back and I'm like, how did we not fall off? Because we would just shimmy out on those things, like no guardrails, none of that stuff. Of course, you know, this was all without my parents' permissions. They would have never let me do any of that stuff. This was just me being a bad kid. I honestly don't know how teenagers survive being a teenager. I don't know how I did. Like honestly, we should have fallen off of that thing and the awful things that suck your soul. Dementors. I know that one. Those are Dementors. I should have a Dementor flying around up here. That would be awesome. I don't know how to draw one though. She put like what is that, Patronus? A little glowing deer or something like that. I don't feel like I'm ever gonna finish this picture because I do want to add some of the things. I think that would be kind of cool. All right, I feel like something needs to be over here. Like this clearly needs to be water. I need to make that look more like water. Like you can't really see, but this area is blue, but I don't think it's blue enough to where the average person would recognize. Is this dry? Oh, wait, that's dry. Let me get some trees in there. I don't like how it's. I mean, seriously, drawing trees is basically scribble art. It's almost like the rocks, more dense. So, for those who are still interested in the art process after nearly 3 hours, um, drawing the trees is basically just kind of hinting at trees through scribbles. Like because from a distance you can't really make out like a lot of fine detail on trees. It really is just kind of scribbles. That and like a little bit of color. Really, maybe every now and then you can kind of define one a little bit further. Like, let me add some, make this one look like a legit bush. And then that one little bush lets you know all the other ones are bushes too. Which one was Rita Skeeter? I'm gonna define the horizon. Where do I want to define the horizon? So like maybe here? Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's a fine art to scribbles. There's really not. The secret to scribbles is you add a lot of them, and then nobody focuses on any particular one, you know? Or if you're like me, kind of like crazy, you do actually focus on a particular one. And this is actually, so these scribbles, let's talk about scribbles for a moment, because I feel like we have to talk about scribbles. So between scribbles and brush strokes and stuff like that, that's what I enjoy when I go to an art museum and you're looking at like a painting or something like that from like 100, 200, up to 500 years ago. I think that's how far back Leonardo da Vinci was. Um, and you're looking at this one little mark, like I'm just going to put this little mark right here, right? That little mark right there. When you see that in a painting drawn 500 years ago, it is, and you start thinking about that, you can get mesmerized. Um, because it is almost like a time capsule in the painting. Um, and if you really focus on it, kind of like I do when I go to these type of places, it's just amazing to think like that brushstroke was put down by Van Gogh, you know, or that brushstroke was put down by Rembrandt or Picasso or something like that. It is almost like this direct connection to the artist. I love that kind of stuff. And it's just that one little mark, this mark right here. Like you'll see that, so you'll see all these different marks and you'll get focused on like one little thing. and you'll just be like transported back to whenever that artist made that picture. I don't know what kind of trees these are. I'm gonna try. I'm just gonna switch things up just for a moment. Let's see, where's my white? Now that things have dried a little bit. That one. Get a little bit of whitewash because that is opaque. I've got my black here still. I'm going to switch to a flat brush. Again, this is just experimenting, but I kind of want to see what happens. I use like a white brush just to, yeah. Just want to try practicing putting in clouds. Just kind of salvage this the sky a little bit. This is your favorite piece. This is probably the worst one I've done. Nah, you know, everybody's got their own favorite thing. I appreciate that. That's kind of cool. I'm glad that this one's your favorite. This might be one of my first times doing clouds, I think, on like watercolor. This is kind of neat. Maybe because I can. So hopefully it's recognizable, but if it's not, this is Hogwarts we're doing tonight. I'm streaming a little bit longer than I usually do, but I'm having fun. Hopefully you guys are having fun. The dogs are all laid out. They don't seem to be in any hurry to go out. So I'm just going to keep going until somebody gets tired. I ain't got nowhere to be tomorrow except watching Harry Potter movies just to remember all these things that you guys are talking about. I kind of like painting clouds in watercolor. Like, again, I recently bought some gouache just because they are opaque and kind of work well over watercolor. And that's what I'm using here to do these clouds. And I'm using a flat edge brush, which I don't know, kind of like. I think this is cool. Never done clouds before like this. Definitely makes the sky look a little bit better than it did before I put these in. Kind of look like a mess. Oh, you know, it's funny. I wasn't even paying attention to which direction the light was coming from. Um, when I started doing these clouds, I just assumed it would be kind of up here in the corner. But yeah, I forgot. I kind of did define that already. That's hilarious. So when doing clouds, pro tip, make sure you know where your light source is. You don't think you've ever seen a Potter movie from start to finish? You're probably the first one that I met like that. I mean, they're basically on TV every holiday. They're a lot of fun. You know, like again, some of the things we've been talking about, like what's cool about them is that there's really no like age group that they're made for. Like you would think they're made for kids, but I mean, they appeal to older audiences as well. I wish they'd make more of them, but I don't know if they can capture the spirit of the originals. Like the Fantastic Beasts, they're okay, but they're not anywhere near the same thing. Where to go? You're supposed to be the movie guy. It's pop culture. You need to watch him just for so that you get people's references. Like I watch a lot of junk that I don't really care about just to understand what people are saying. Like The Big Lebowski. Like I enjoyed that movie, but I would have never probably watched that movie except that everybody kept quoting that movie. So then I watched it and I'm like, oh, that's a pretty good movie. Yeah, I agree with Kid and Mama Q and Harry. It's like some movies you watch because they're great cinema. And then some movies you watch just because everybody else watches them. And it's like it's just pop culture. You have to be well versed in pop culture just to understand what people are talking about. Anyway, I know what you guys should be doing this weekend. You guys should be watching some Harry Potter. But you like the classics though, Vertigo, right? Like movies made in the 60s, things like that. James Bond films. I like these clouds. Like I'm glad I added these clouds. It wasn't looking right until it did. And unintentionally, and I'm okay with it. So we've talked in the past about like directing the viewer's eye, right? So when I look at this picture, you kind of rub this out a little bit because that's way too bright. So when I was looking at this picture, I just realized, like, unintentionally, like, just completely by accident, I started adding, like, really light areas over here in this corner. Okay. And the reason why, like, again, it's just instinctual. I want the viewer's eye to kind of be directed through the picture. So by adding, like, some light up here, you create that contrast that gives people something to move towards. So like you have the dark area down here, and this will be dark as well, probably like after I add some more foreground. The viewer's eye kind of naturally goes up to the corner. I have never seen American Graffiti. Is that bad? Is that something I need to watch? And viewers' eyes are directed up here, one, because it's like brighter now, right? It wasn't before. And also because like the line of the clouds actually directs you up there. Again, I wasn't planning on doing that, but since I did it and I like it, I'm going to point it out. So, cool. All right. Well, now that that's done, I'll move back to adding more pen marks, which seems to take forever. Not that one. You don't need to worry, Vertigo. If one of my pictures don't turn out right, I don't, like they go in the wastebasket or up there on the wall where you can't see it. Like, can you actually make out any details of any of these pictures? Nah, they're back there in the corner for a reason. It's all trial and error, I'm still learning. I'm starting to understand things a little bit better, that's progress. Truth is, before I started this YouTube channel, I never drew pictures, with the intention of, even letting anybody see them. I just drew them for fun, just to pass the time. And honestly, it's a great way to relax. But, only since starting this YouTube channel have I ever been, ever in my entire life been concerned about like, oh crap, are these any good? Um, And I've kind of talked about this before. Like, one of the weird things about YouTube is they have analytics, right? So, like, how many people thumbed up your picture or however many people viewed your picture and stuff like that. And, when I first started posting these videos, I was like, huh, like, I got X amount of views, I got X amount of likes. What does that mean? Does that mean that people liked the picture? Does that mean that people hated the picture? I really spent a lot of time thinking about that. And these are things that I never thought before. I never really cared, you know. Never ever bothered me whether or not like somebody actually likes the pictures. But because I'm actually, I feel like I have got a long way to go, but I want to get to the point where I'm actually creating pictures that are good. And now I'm more concerned about, things like, well, did I do a good job? Never cared before. So anyway, like I don't know what my point was, but it is something I think about now that I never really thought about before. Yeah, maybe that was my point. I don't know. I didn't even know Harrison Ford was in American Graffiti until recently. I feel like I need to watch it just because Harrison Ford's in it. I think that was like his first movie or something. This is almost like stipple art at this point. Oh, thanks, Lorraine. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. I'm just worried about how much is left to go. I still have to fill in this area. I need to add highlights to these, maybe not to these trees, but back here, like this is all kind of monotone back here. I feel like I need to add some variations of green. What colors do I have? I love how I go from like, where can I put this? Put it here. I love how I go from like inking to getting bored and going back to adding color. Let's see, where's my flat brush? I like these flat brushes. They're a lot of fun. Oh, I almost put that in the bourbon. Is this? Yeah, see, that doesn't even look any different. I think I might have to go back over this with like wash. Just anyway, I feel like that's probably tomorrow's thing. Let me let it dry. And through here needs to be trees. I don't know. I feel like this picture is never ending. This is probably why people don't do ink pictures all that often. Um, my understanding is that Harrison Ford was a carpenter, wasn't even an actor, and got tapped for that movie just because they needed somebody to fill a role, and he said he would, and then he did such a good job and that people just liked him. Oh, baby walking willow. What do I put over here in this corner to balance it? I feel like this bottom you kind of go a little bit more blue, just to kind of darken this up. Get the sea going down there. One way to start filling it in. Put the enchanted fort. Um, because I can is in here. The other day he remarked like, "Hey, I wonder what Jeremy's gonna do this Friday. I bet you he's gonna do a horse, a dog, or a girl." And I started thinking like, "Oh man, I do kind of like do some of the same pictures over and over again. I don't want to get to where I can only do certain pictures because that's the only ones I practice." I actually thought about doing a car tonight, like um, like a technical drawing of a car just to change it up a bit. Of course, I'm not like as into cars as most guys, so I didn't even know what car I would do, but I might actually do that in the future just to keep it fresh, do different things. So I don't know about like an enchanted car, but maybe I might do like a Lambo or like an old rusty Ford. I feel like that might be a little bit too light. If it's reflecting the sky, it should be darker. What's a buckbeak? I felt like I don't know even know if I watched the same movie as you guys. You guys are quoting all these things that I have no idea what the heck you guys are talking about. I thought I knew what Potter was. I don't know what a buckbeak is. It's a bit dark, but I think that's going to dry lighter. And if not, That's what gouache. And gouache is the magic fix-all. Hippogriff. Oh, I think I do remember that. Yeah. I feel like it's just been too long, you know. I mean, think about it. The first one, what was that? Like 2000, 2001 when that came out? Something like that. That's nearly 20 years, guys. Deathly Hollows, I think. I don't know. I feel like you guys can look it up on Google. I'm not in front of Google right now, but I want to say that was like what, 2010? Something like that? No, it had to have been later than that. 2012, 15. I don't know. Anyway, it's been a while. You gotta put something in over here. I think maybe, I mean, I can't do it now because it's wet, but maybe I'll have like a figure standing here or something, or like a deer or something like that. I don't know. I'll worry about that probably in the morning. I have to let all this dry before I can work on that part. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna go with a little bit. Yes, yes, you're a pretty dog. Pretty dog. I think the dogs want me to wrap this up soon. And the cat's at the door too. Wow. I want to add a little bit of color up here. All right, so I think I'm gonna wrap this up and let things dry. Come back and finish it in the morning. Um, I feel like it's a good start. It's just I do want to kind of put something in over here. I have to let that dry first. Definitely in the future, if I do any more of these type pictures, I'm gonna have a like a hair dryer on standby. So I've got two dogs, and then my parents' dogs. I watch them a lot, and they have two dogs. So like I often have four dogs in my house, and then I have one cat, and then I have a bunny rabbit that is an outdoor bunny rabbit, but member of the family, you know. So two official dogs and one cat. They all have their own different personalities. Bear is the sweetest one. That's the one that you saw just a moment ago. She's super sweet. She's afraid of everything. She likes to snuggle with you, things like that. Um, Guinness is the smart one. He'll figure out how to get to snacks. He's he's super smart. And then there's the cat, which is just I don't know. The cat's just there. All right, so I do, yeah. All right, I feel like this is probably a good stopping point. So I like the sky. I like how I recovered from that. I like the clouds and everything. I feel like I can introduce like a little bit more yellow through the castle itself. Um, like this will probably dry a little more subtle. It looks really intense there. But again, the light is coming from that direction, so that's fine if that looks like that. Maybe I'll put like a little bit of accent color in there, like a little bit of red maybe or something, like a redder, warmer color. Uh, I feel like these trees over here, I need to put like a lighter green on top of it. Like this is kind of like too neon. This is just a mess right now, but it'll get better. These trees here, I felt like I need to come in and maybe add like a little bit of highlights, finish that up. Yeah, it got a long way to go. What has it been? Over 3 hours. I feel like to make a masterpiece out of this, I could probably put in another 3 hours and still not get there, but I'll try again in the morning, maybe put in a couple more hours and just see if I can like one of the things I'm concerned about at this point is that the castle is kind of lost on the background. I want to kind of find some way of separating it from the background so that it really stands out. But anyway, I feel like that's future Jeremy's problem. Uh, I'll worry about it in the morning. But yeah, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. It's been a fun Friday night. Sorry to take so long for with you guys, but I feel like we've had a good time hanging out, talking about Harry Potter. Uh, you know, I like those kind of live streams. Where we're actually chatting and having a good time. But yeah, so I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I hope you guys have this dog over here tap dancing. That one's Guinness, by the way. Guinness is super smart. Like he'll figure out how to open that door if I went too long. Um, but yeah, sorry, I got distracted. Too much bourbon. Um, Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll finish this up sometime tomorrow, and I'll post the finished picture on the. Oh, thanks, Bavetta. I appreciate it. Thanks, Hillary. Thanks, kid. Thanks, Mommy Q. You guys are all great. Vertigo, appreciate you as always. Um, but yeah, I'll post it up on the community tab tomorrow when I finish it up, and then I'll post a short of it at some point. Hopefully, I can finish it up tomorrow. If not, stay tuned. You'll see it later. In the meantime, have a great weekend. I'll see you guys probably Tuesday. Yeah. All right. Have a good one, guys. Bye.